Welcome to International Peace, selections from All Men Are Brothers by Mahatma Gandhi, Vegetarian, Part 1 of 2. Born Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, Vegetarian, the man who came to be known as the Great Soul, or Mahatma Gandhi, Vegetarian, was an exemplary spiritual practitioner and a visionary leader of India. Born in 1869, this passionate servant of humanity first became a lawyer. However, he felt a different calling from within as he discovered a fervent wish to improve the lives of all people. The beloved Mahatma Gandhi, Vegetarian, sometimes spoke about desired changes in government and would meditate and fast to encourage a non-violent and beneficial outcome. He thus became an example of peaceful change for an entire country. In his book, All Men Are Brothers, Mahatma Gandhi, Vegetarian, humbly reflects on his own life and inner realizations as a way to illustrate the unity of our global spiritual family. In one passage, he describes faith as a divine principle within us all, regardless of religion. It is faith that steers us through stormy seas, faith that moves mountains, and faith that jumps across the ocean. That faith is nothing but a living, wide-awake consciousness of God within. They who have achieved that faith want nothing. Bodily diseased, they are spiritually healthy. Physically poor, they roll in spiritual riches. Today we are pleased to share with you Mahatma Gandhi's eloquent thoughts on international peace from Chapter 6 of his book, All Men Are Brothers. Chapter 6, International Peace. I do not believe that an individual may gain spiritually and those that surround that person suffer. I believe in Advaita. I believe in the essential unity of humanity and, for that matter, of all that lives. Therefore, I believe that if one person gains spiritually, the whole world gains with them. And if one person falls, the whole world falls to that extent. There is not a single virtue which aims at or is content with the welfare of the individual alone. Conversely, there is not a single moral offense which does not, directly or indirectly, affect many others besides the actual offender. Hence, whether an individual is good or bad is not merely their own concern, but really the concern of the whole community, nay, of the whole world. Humankind is one, seeing that all are equally subject to the moral law. All people are equal in God's eyes. There are, of course, differences of race and status and the like, but the higher the status of a person, the greater is their responsibility. The conception of my patriotism is nothing if it is not always, in every case, without exception, consistent with the broadest good of humanity at large. Not only that, but my religion and my patriotism derived from my religion embrace all life. I want to realize brotherhood or identity not merely with the beings called human, but I want to realize identity with all life, even with such things as crawl upon earth. I want, if I don't give a shock, to realize identity with even the crawling things upon earth, because we claim descent from the same God, and that being so, all life, in whatever form it appears, must be essentially one. I am a humble servant of India, and in trying to serve India, I serve humanity at large. After nearly 50 years of public life, I am able to say today that my faith in the doctrine that the service of one's nation is not inconsistent with the service of the world has grown. It is a good doctrine. Its acceptance alone will ease the situation in the world, and stop the mutual jealousies between nations inhabiting this globe of ours. Interdependence is, and ought to be, as much the ideal of humanity as self-sufficiency. Humans are social beings. Without interrelation with society, they cannot realize their oneness with the universe or suppress their egotism. Their social interdependence enables them to test their faith and to prove themselves on the touchstone of reality. If they were so placed or could so place themselves as to be absolutely above all dependence on their fellow beings, they would become so proud and arrogant as to be a veritable burden and nuisance to the world. Dependence on society teaches them the lesson of humanity. A person cannot become self-sufficient even in respect of all various operations, from the growing of the cotton to the spinning of the yarn. They have, at some stage or other, to take the aid of members of their family. And if one may take the help from one's own family, why not from one's neighbors? Or otherwise, what is the significance of the great saying, "The world is my family"? Duties to self, to the family, to the country, and to the world are not independent of one another. One cannot do good to the country by injuring themselves or their family. Similarly, one cannot serve the country, injuring the world at large. When the heart is pure, we at once realize what is our duty every moment. The golden way is to be friends with the world and to regard the whole human family as one. They, who distinguish between the votaries of one's own religion and those of another, miseducates the members of their own and opens the way for discord and irreligion. I live for India's freedom and would die for it, because it is part of truth. Only a free India can worship the true God. I work for India's freedom because my Swadeshi teaches me that being born in it and having inherited her culture, I am fittest to serve her, and she has a prior claim to my service. But my patriotism is not exclusive. It is calculated not only not to hurt another nation, but to benefit all in the true sense of the word. India's freedom as conceived by me can never be a menace to the world.